Hey, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the Comic-Con podcast. We are here recording it on May 27, 2021. We have hit episode 21. We are legal here. I am one of your hosts for the evening, Justin, a.k.a. Nemesis Prime. Throwing it to my man, Zach. What is up, Manimal?
What's going on, everybody? Always glad to be back doing the podcast stuff. We got a good episode today. We're going to talk about some community stuff. We've got a lot of news here in both TV, movie, Marvel news. We went super heavy DC. This is going to be pretty heavy Marvel. And we also have a guest appearance today from the community as well.
Yes, we do. But before we get into our guest, a couple weeks ago, we actually had a message from one of our listeners, Trial by Gods, Nate, who sent us a message and asked what was our IG handles, kind of how we created them. And if anybody who is out there wants to ever send us a message, you could always follow us on our Instagram at the Comic-Con Podcast. You can send us direct messages there or to the Comic-Con Podcast at gmail.com. You could always send in articles, comments, whatever you really want to send. So he actually sent us a little snippet of all about him. So we're going to play that real quick. So here we go.
Boys, love the show yesterday. Hey, it's Nate. And since you told us how you got your nicknames, let me tell you how I came up with Trial by Gods. It's basically just a comic that I've always wanted to create. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, so all the inspiration is really from the cartoons, kind of like Nemesis Prime mentioned with Transformers, but G.I. Joe and Humanoids, He-Man, and then artists like McFarlane, Lee, and all the Image creators. And just trying to create my own comic book and tell my own story. I was hoping to get it out this year, but I think realistically it'll be next year. So anyway, fellas, keep up the good work. Looking forward to the live show tonight. I'll have a beer in one hand and hard liquor in the other.
Damn, nice. That's pretty good. Yo, he said in Humanoids, that brought me back to the 80s. Oh, damn.
You know, like I'm an 80s kid as well with all the cartoons, but some of the shit you talk about, I'm like, I've never heard of that garbage. Like, what was the one with the lantern holders or that comic you found when I was in town?
Visionaries?
Visionaries, yeah.
You're my age. Anyway, so shout out to Nate. Thank you so much for sending that in for our community section. And again, we have a big person here in the community. If you guys don't know him, he's on Spine Ticks. My man, Steve SithLordly, welcome to the podcast. What's going on, man?
Yo, what is up? Thanks so much for inviting me. I'm just here for the community drama.
Oh, well.
We're short on that this week.
Damn.
Tell us some secrets, Sith. Tell us some secrets.
Yeah.
So, Sith, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast tonight. You know, like we said earlier, we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. We want to hear your thoughts because that's always interesting. You know, most people just hear Zach and myself every week, but it's always nice to hear someone else in the community what their thoughts on some of these articles and castings we got. So first off, tell everybody out there who's listening across the world, tell them about yourself. Where where can people find you? What do you like to do? What do you like collecting?
Yeah, man. The best place you can find me is on Instagram at SithLordly. But I also happen to run a little show called Spine Ticks, which you can find on YouTube, just real easy, youtube.com Spine Ticks. I owe actually a lot of that to you guys over at the Lords of the Long Box because, when I was getting started, I was a chat moderator for you guys and, kind of got some visibility doing that. And, so I'm forever grateful for all of you guys kind of getting me some motivation to get my own thing going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny. I feel like most people, there's a lot of people in the community who won't admit this, but I think a lot of people can derive their start in the community to like Tim and Lords of the Long Box. So Tim has definitely helped most of the people in the community. The big names kind of start off. They won't admit it, but he definitely did.
Yeah, I think I rattle my Tim story off like every 3 episodes on Spine Ticks. I met him on Craigslist in 2015, and if it was not for him, I wouldn't even be on Instagram because he said, there's a whole comic community, go over there. And I said, I thought Instagram was just for like, girls' makeup and dogs. And he's like, no, man, we're over there posting comic books. So, but again, I mean, to all of you guys, you guys, Darkside, Otto, everybody over there at Lords, appreciate it.
Yeah, well, you definitely, run a nice show over there. If anybody doesn't know, you typically go live on Saturday nights, 8 o'clock Pacific time, as well as you dropping other videos throughout the week as well. But you guys go forever. I think you definitely have to have the longest show on YouTube for live shows, without a doubt. Because there's times where I wake up in the morning and I look at where it's streamed and it says it just stopped maybe like an hour or two ago. And you look at the time length and you're like, wow, that went 7 hours. And you guys, every week, you guys were trying to like beat that time. It was like 4 hours, 5, 6. I'm like, oh my God, how are you doing this?
So it's killing me, actually. I'm like, I start out as the only member that would start and finish the show, right? The other guys would kind of tap out, first hour, second hour, third hour. And I kept getting guys who'd want to jump in, and kind of get their first exposure to YouTube. So we kind of look at Spine Ticks as a community show, right? It's a show for the people. If you're not crazy and you want to get on YouTube, come hit me up, right? And
very scary solicitation right there, dude.
Exactly. You don't know what you're going to get. And what I found out is if the show goes too long, you can't use that YouTube editor to wind back some content. Like there's been a few times when somebody said something, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should get rid of that. Oops, cannot, because we went 7 hours. But we've actually had dudes in the UK hop on, it's their morning and it's like our 3 a.m. So we're kind of like international with this because the UK's got a whole comic community as well. It's wild.
For sure.
Yeah, we have a lot of international listeners. We've had a message out in England, I believe. Wow, a couple months ago. But that's really good. Again, like you say, you're just I guess you're just sending out the StreamYard, because that's where you do it as well. Is send out the link to someone who wants to join. And yeah, there's times where you really don't have like a set, let's say 4 or 5 guys. They may come on, but then you're just adding more people that are all over the community, all waves of life. And that's really cool that people who've never been on YouTube, they just want to jump on, right? You've had people that are just on their phones, right? No, not like professional like any of us look like right now.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely had people kind of get their start there, and some have started their own channels. Like Hairy Old Fat Guy comes to mind. Somebody in Lord's chat, right? He's formed his own crew out of Reno now, and so he's rounded up like 4 dudes. So we call them affiliates. These other shows that are popping off like Gremlins, right? You just pour water on me and they pop off. But yeah, it's we definitely have we turned it from a hangout show into, we have focus segments. We do a lot of indie picks and FOC and stuff like that. But, we want to bring people on and have a great time, get to know everybody in the community. We're all about the people, really.
Nice.
Awesome. So one of the reasons why I also wanted to have you on, not only because you've been a supporter of both of us and Lords of Longbox and, Instagram, YouTube for the past few years, is you're a Star Wars guy like me. And I thought this was a really interesting topic to talk about. So you talk about a lot of times with books where they mention Star Wars characters, but they haven't appeared in a comic book yet. So, most recently we've had Fennec Shah show up on the Bad Batch, and she hasn't appeared in the comics, but she has appeared in dialogue where someone said her name in Bounty Hunters. And you're also another comic that you brought up is Dark Empire #1, correct?
That's right. Yeah. Thrawn is mentioned in the end notes, not in a panel. Yeah. But the summary, the writer's summaries.
And even another one, here's another Star Wars book that I'm not sure if but Jedi Fallen Order #5,
yes.
Dark
Cal
Temple.
Kestis.
Cal Kestis is another one. So now people out there listening, obviously we always spec on characters that are coming out. Would you consider this, or even tell people to kind of go out and buy these books on the spec of a mention?
I guess it depends, right? I know guys like you and I, we're Star Wars collectors. We want those books regardless. There's some people who could give a damn about Star Wars and just want to flip and make money. To those people, right? I mean, like if you see it, for cover price or in the back bin for cheap, you don't have much to lose to buy it. But I certainly, if I was just trying to buy and flip on a mention, I wouldn't pay a lot of money for it right now. The thing is that, we've seen wacky things in this market, right? And so we would be remiss if we didn't at least mention that they're like Thrawn, right? Heir to the Empire 1 is just insane. So it seems like you would be omitting information if you didn't at least say that he was first mentioned in Dark Empire #1. It's kind of relevant. But I'm not going to be spending hundreds of bucks just to buy that first mention and flip it. But it'll be interesting to see what the heck happens with that book once he makes, an appearance on Disney Plus.
No, you're right though. Like, I mean, with the market the way it is, and everyone's just getting priced out of certain books. You know what I mean? And we've even moved into like people having to collect the second printing, or I'm sorry, the second appearance or third appearance of a character. I mean, who's to say that people won't start collecting the mentions of a character as well. I mean,
Right.
the market is crazy right now. You get priced out of these books like that, the Thrawn first appearance, and maybe you're like, well, damn, at least I'm going to go try to get this one so that I at least have something either to collect or to flip, So, hey,
that's true. I mean, I can think of an example. Justin, you probably remember the issue, but remember there was that one Star Wars book that just mentioned Cal, right?
Yeah,
And
the Yoda book.
right. And people were flipping over that because they thought that was Cal Kestis, So they're throwing darts, man. I think the nice thing is for Star Wars fans like yourself, Justin, and I, like a lot of the time we already have the books. We've had them for a while. And so it's nice when they take off. But, I haven't flipped any Star Wars myself because I'm a collector. I'm a reader.
Oh, yeah. There's so much great reads out there that I don't think a lot of people even know from the Dark Horse era, and even a lot of the Marvel stuff. There's the main titles, but past that, there's all these limited series and little minis that they do that I don't think anybody's ever picked up because they're just like, it's not a character I want to care about, but there's a lot of good stuff in there, and I talk about them here. I post about it, and I'm sure you're the same way. There's so much that's untapped that has a lot of good long term for possibilities with Filoni now being where he's at Disney Plus.
Yeah, I'm kind of like hot and cold with the new Marvel Star Wars, right? I definitely like the Kanan stuff, right? All the Rebel stuff is cool. Afra is awesome, but I'll be the first to admit I'm not really big on this High Republic stuff.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have been buying it, but I've just been stacking it. That's why, Justin, I think you saw right in, like, someone hit me up and I said, go talk to Nemesis. I've kind of retired a little bit off Star Wars. Justin's keeping up. Go talk to him. So I'm kind of referring people to you.
Well, it was a good little segue there, Sith, because we do actually have a Marvel High Republic series announcement that I want to get into in a little bit of a comic section. So, since you're really not reading too much of it, I know my man Zach and I are both reading this, but this was actually just posted earlier today on CBR's website. So Marvel announces a new Star Wars The High Republic series. It has announced a new series called Trial of Shadows. It's an all-new series from Daniel Jose Older and David Watcher. And basically what it is it's a comic series that will explore a mystery that's plagued the second wave of the book. So if anybody's gone out and read Cavan Scott's newest novel, The Rising Storm, this is all about two characters. We have a Jedi Knight called Emmerich Chapter and a private detective named Cian Holt as they investigate a mystery that ties into the Jedi Order. The series will also touch upon what happened at the Republic Fair, which was, again, an integral part of that second wave of novels, which was The Rising Storm. Now, real quick, when you heard the name Sierra Holt, who did you think of?
Myself?
Dark Horse, yeah.
Isn't there a character named Kara Holt?
Yeah, that's
right?
Immediately where I went.
Right, that's the one we were talking about, right? Dawn of the Jedi.
Yeah, the whole Knight Errant run.
That's right.
Old school.
So, yeah, the Knight Errant one. Yeah, it was issue 0. Remember we talked about that. I was like, yeah, this could be someone who could hop in.
Definitely. Girl Jedi. We had Rey, but she was an integral part in that all those 3 series I think there are.
Yeah.
But so again, we have the High Republic Trial of Shadows coming out sometime in August. According to what they're saying is there are so many weird and terrifying threads to unravel here, says David Watcher. He's even comparing Emmerich and Cian as their interactions to Mulder and Scully from the X-Files.
That's pretty cool.
So this is really something that's interesting. So Zach, what do you think about a story like a little mini series like this?
Yeah, I think it's cool. The High Republic, I'm with Sith on this. It's been kind of slow. I've read both the 2, like, I guess, adult novels, The Light of the Jedi and Into the Dark. So I do like, and I'm a big novel reader as well. So it's fun to kind of like go back and forth between the comics and the novels. I'm excited for The Rising Storm to come out here at the end of June. It should be cool. I'm hoping it's a mini series. I think my thing with the High Republic right now is obviously you got the ongoing, and I don't know. I haven't felt attached to the plot, like the story. So maybe a more focused little like arc between these 2 characters, like a 6-issue series or something like that, or 12 or maxi, whatever. Maybe it would feel a little bit better. I think it's cool that you're getting a private detective. Have we seen a private detective in Star Wars lore at all before? Like that job description?
Sith, you want to kind of take that?
I mean, I don't know about a private detective. We
Mhm.
had, like the agent of the Empire, remember, but he
Mhm.
was kind of more working for the Empire.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So this is kind of, I mean, that's kind of cool. You know, we've got bounty hunters, and so we know there's crime in the
Mhm.
galaxy, right?
Mhm.
So like to have a private detector out there kind of hunting down and helping the Jedi keep order, I think that's kind of cool. That could be a cool interaction.
And I feel like
Columbo.
yeah, exactly. I felt like even some of the Clone Wars episodes, they were a little bit intricate where they were, a little bit done like detective work. There was a little behind this. It wasn't so much of action like the clones
Right.
fighting, the separatists. There was some of those episodes were involved a little bit of a more of a detective look. Like
Mhm.
even like Quinlan Vos, who's an outsider, like he's, there's like that one episode that he's in that I feel like is more of a detective run. And then there's obviously the episodes with Ahsoka Tano and her whole thing where they think that she, bombed the Jedi Temple. That's a real like noir type of
Yeah.
detective story. So we've seen it a little bit in the cartoons, but never really read about it in anything like this. So it's definitely going to be an interesting series when this comes out for the High Republic in August.
Yeah, you know, it needs to breathe a little fresh blood into the High Republic. Like I said, what do we got? We got just the main title and then Adventures. Those are the only two titles we have, like comic book wise.
That's
And
it right now.
Yeah, I don't know. The Adventures is kind of lame. Also, it's just, I'm really not like, I'm not into it. I read it every week that it comes out, but I'm mainly like, okay, cool. Let's go somewhere with this story.
Zach, what did you think about the first High Republic novel?
So I enjoyed Light of the Jedi. I think it's hard. It's hard with Star Wars too because you're so used to the visual. So for me, like trying to think about the characters and like, okay, who's that? What do they look like? You know, and visualizing it. And there was no definitive like main character. Kind of threw it off a little bit. I think I enjoyed Into the Dark better than I did, or more than I did Light of the Jedi. Did you read that one?
Well, I've read over 100 Star Wars expanded universe novels.
Yeah.
And so I do like Star Wars and I like novels. I could not finish that Light of the Jedi novel. And, I try to read it electronically. So I don't know if it's the medium that maybe I wasn't digging, but you had mentioned, right, you didn't feel attached to a plot.
Right.
On the comic, and it just like, and I don't, I mean, I know everybody is different with Star Wars, right? Some are just kind of approaching it for the first time, right? This is the new canon, a good place to jump on. Then you got old cats like, Justin and myself. So it's like, wherever people are with Star Wars, that's cool. That's their journey. But for me, it was like the first Star Wars novel that I've not been able to finish out of like hundreds. I may try and revisit it because I do like Star Wars. I want to like Star Wars, right? My name's SithLordly. So, I wasn't against it just to be against it, but it didn't feel like the same Star Wars to me. And, maybe it was just the headspace that I was in at the time.
And that could be it. It also, I mean, the whole novel revolves around the accident in the in the lights in the hyperspace lane. And so then it's just like all these different like missions that the Jedi are going on to try to like save people and go up against the Nile. And it just didn't, it wasn't, you know what? Read Into the Dark. It's a lot. I thought it was a lot better. It's more focused. It's just like a group of Jedi and other people on this space station. And it actually delves into the secondary threat, or I don't want to say secondary, but another threat of this High Republic, those, the plant people, what are they called? The
Dragon,
Drengir, that's what it is. Yeah. So that deals more with them, and you still get some Nile in there, but it's more focused. It's on this space station. The storyline is right there. It's not necessarily happening like in all these different areas. So check that one out. I enjoyed that one more for sure.
Now, speaking of novels, did you guys hear about the Heart of the Jedi snafu on Amazon?
No.
Okay, you need to check this out. So there was a Star Wars novel, Heart of the Jedi, if I'm recalling the name correctly. It was a canceled expanded universe novel from the 90s that was basically in principle approved, and it was written but never released.
I'm looking at it. Kenneth Flint.
There you go. And the writer apparently, put this novel together like it looks like an old expanded universe novel, and released it to Amazon. And the thing, it was like one of their top sellers for like the month that it was on there.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like a self, published book, beat out, top publisher, other novels, which tells you what Star Wars fans want. Once I guess Amazon and Lucasfilm got involved with it, it got shut down, and the book was going for $300 or more on eBay.
So
Wow.
I'm looking at it right now on the splash page on Amazon that you brought up. It's Kenneth Flint paperback, March 4th, 2021. For the paperback version, it's $250.
Yeah.
There's the cheesiest cover of Leia, Luke, and Han, and it looks like Tatooine like on there as well. But then underneath the format, it says, "Do not buy this, period. You will get nothing, period. This is just a test." What is this?
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, on eBay, people were buying this book, and I mean, people had bought 3 or 4 copies, as this thing was building, and then it got shut down, and then people like myself found out, and I was like, damn, I missed out because I want the novel. It was approved but not released, and so I guess there's a digital copy on this Star Wars website, but it's incomplete or something. I don't know. But yeah,
Well,
I
maybe in
just
time you'll
found
be
that
able to
very
find it.
interesting. Yeah. Crazy, huh?
That's funny.
That's really I wrote it down. Maybe I could try to find it on one of those torrent sites. So,
Yeah.
but let's move on to some TV and movie casting news. So, Zach, why don't you take over on this segment because there's a couple of them out there that just got released this week.
Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, last week we were really big on the DC news, and it seemed like Marvel felt a little jealous and came back with a vengeance this week. So we've got some castings. We'll start with that. One of the big ones was we had Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore. Maybe you younger cats won't remember that guy. Christopher McDonald got cast as a major MCU original character for the Secret Invasion on Disney Plus. So we don't know a lot. We don't know anything about who this character is, except that don't go hunting for his first appearance because it seems like there is no first appearance for this gentleman yet. Brand new character, original character, but he should be staying around for a while. They're saying he has potential to cross over into more Disney Plus series and movies. So Secret Invasion, we don't know a ton about right now. Obviously, the only characters we are familiar with right now are Nick Fury and Talos, the Skrull leader, kind of showing up. But as we talked about earlier, Emilia Clarke is playing someone who's been undisclosed as well. So there's a lot of hype on this Secret Invasion. What do you guys think about that? Christopher McDonald, Shooter McGavin.
That's the first thing I thought about.
Oh, for sure.
What do you think about this for a crossover? This character, what other movie? I mean, I don't even know what other movies he's been in. So
he's been in like a million, but that's the one, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to picture who it is. I need to talk to Lady Sith. She advises me on who everybody is. But when I think Secret Invasion, I just think, I own the series because Lords talked about it, however long ago it was, right? And that's pretty much when I own most of the books that are hot. I'm like, okay, yep, thanks, Lords. So I actually haven't read Secret Invasion, but I've got the run. I'll probably be flipping that.
So now
it was like the first massive crossover of like the Marvel 2000s era, wouldn't you say, Justin?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Like it was a huge event.
It went in
That first
every single issue of every single title.
Yeah.
It was
and
crazy.
that first issue, I think there's that splash page that's got to have like 50 characters on it where all the Avengers and there's X-Men included. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who Christopher actually ends up playing, because even Coulson was an original character, right?
Yes.
Wasn't he original character before the whole Avengers thing?
No. His first appearance was in the movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he was an original character to the MCU cinematic universe before he was ever put into comics. So this is a similar situation.
Yes. Yeah. And he could be anything. Obviously, Secret Invasion is heavy on Skrulls. Christopher McDonald is an older guy now. He could be a Skrull. I don't know. I mean, he's a good actor, dude. I mean, I was pretty excited to see this. It's fun to see these guys from like, your childhood movies show up in like the MCU. Because when would you have ever thought Shooter McGavin's going to be in like an MCU movie? Like, I think it's cool.
Yeah, definitely. So what else we got?
So the next one is some big news. This dude is like, this actor has been in like how many franchises? Let's count them out as we talk about. We got Aaron Taylor Johnson just got cast as Kraven the Hunter in the lead role for the new Spider-Man Sony standalone movie. So, I mean, he's been what? Kick-Ass, Quicksilver, and now he's Kraven. I mean, this dude's just running the gamut here in comic book movies. But what's your guys' opinions on a Kraven standalone movie?
What do you think?
I guess that ends Keanu Reeves' spec of him as Kraven, right? Wasn't Keanu Reeves going to play everybody?
Yeah. What's funny is it was Keanu Reeves was thought to be the guy. I saw another name that it was a really interesting take on Kraven, but I can't remember who it is now. But yeah, So Keanu's out.
Wasn't for a minute, weren't they talking about an African American Craven as well? I think it like ran all over the place.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm just glad I got all the books again, thanks to Lords, right? Because I've had those for a while, and I mean, also being an Amazing Spider-Man fan, from the Bronze Age, I had a lot of those books. Yeah, I mean, as far as the MCU goes and Disney Plus, I've been stoked on everything that's come out. So more content is great.
And I'm sure he's going to get jacked. I mean, he was jacked in Kick-Ass, right?
Oh,
like he was pretty big in that.
He was jacked in Avengers Age of Ultron. He was massive.
Yeah. So, and now he's going to have to grow. And we've seen him with like the long hair and beard already. So now you just throw on the Kraven costume and it's pretty much, it's perfect. It's going to be a perfect casting, I think.
So your opinion, what do you guys think? I mean, personally, I'm not crazy about a Kraven solo movie. Like, I mean, this is probably I don't want to say the last, but one of the last big Spider-Man villains we haven't seen on live action yet, right? And he's going to come in like a standalone movie. I don't know, man. I don't know about all these Sony standalone Spider-Man movies.
It's interesting to me because like Kraven, for an old collector like myself, I like Kraven, but how much has Kraven been around for like in current stuff compared to who they could have chosen?
I mean, name a story arc outside of Kraven's Last Hunt for Kraven.
Kraven's Hunt, or that was like the most recent Kraven's
Final Hunt or whatever.
That was like the one to get,
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got that, and then you have his Sinister Six stuff, but all that is also like super specific to Spidey. So if you take Spidey out of that, what do you got? You got a guy roaming around hunting creatures. Like, so I'm rereading the Ultimate Universe right now, which has been kind of fun also. And Kraven's interaction or his like introduction in that universe was he's kind of like a, out there hunting animals like on live National Geographic TV, and then he sees Spider-Man. He's got to now hunt that guy. So I don't know what you do with a solo movie for Kraven.
Now, so you said this Sony, is Marvel involved at all?
I don't know, about as much as they were for like the Venom movies, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be, it's got to be just a setup for him, and he'll fight like poachers or something like, and then at the end it's kind of
poachers.
And then at the end it like sets him up to like find Spider-Man. Like, again, like you said, he sees in the Ultimate, he sees Spider-Man. I don't know, like black market type of thing. Yeah. I can't see him really. Yeah. It's like, who do you really have him go up against? Like, do you have him go against somebody who's in like the Marvel comics, or do you just create something just to have him be in a comic book? But I mean, we've already heard this before with like Madam Web. I mean, I guess now we have like a actor behind something that's been said from Sony, right? Because like they did the Madam Web and everybody ran out and bought that first appearance, but there was never anything past that. There wasn't an actress.
I wonder how stoked the actor is, like, knowing he's going to be in like a Spider-Man film, and then it's like, or a related property, and it's like, oh, you're Kraven. When he's thinking like, I could be all these other characters.
Well, I mean, it's not a horrible character because like I said, when you talk about Spider-Man, the one thing that's been missing that everyone's been clamoring for, that the Andrew Garfield universe was set around, was the Sinister Six, right? So everyone's waiting for Sinister Six to show up, and Kraven is one of the founding members. So you're definitely going to get some screen time out of playing a Kraven character, but a Kraven solo, I mean, that's about as exciting as the Night Watch solo movie that they talked about doing. Like, I'll be honest, and the Morbius, the trailer looked good, but I was pretty doubtful on that. I'm doubtful on a Madam Web, the Jackpot movie. Come on, Jackpot! Like, Sony needs to stop jacking around with these characters and stop doing these solo movies on them. But
maybe they've been hanging out with DC movies. It seems like whoever's making all those decisions is not up to speed with Marvel. That's for sure.
Right. At least DC's got legit characters that are getting solo movies, not like Jackpot and Madam Web, But I don't know. Kraven's awesome. I mean, first appearance wise, this is Amazing Spider-Man 15. I mean, you should, if you're a Spider-Man fan, you should be owning this book.
Is he going to be wearing like that Lionhead outfit? The one the traditional one?
God, I hope so.
Yeah. I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's a perfect casting.
Yeah.
As far as what the storyline, none of us know, and we'll find out once it happens. So
I like him. I love Aaron Taylor Johnson. I was super bummed, spoiler alert, that he's killed in Age of Ultron as Quicksilver. I think he's a great actor. So yeah, that's a good one.
I'll watch. What else I got to do?
Right, right. So another Marvel news here, and this kind of shouldn't be much of a surprise. We've talked about this. There's been a lot of information in this realm of the Marvel MCU. There's talks that Okoye's character, Danny Gurira, I don't know, I just murdered her name. Okoye from Black Panther is returning for a Disney Plus and spinoff series. So she recently signed like I think a five movie deal or 5 TV show deal to kind of show up in the MCU going forward. And now it's not to say that this might be like her own show, possibly about like her origin, but it might also be just the Wakanda show that we've heard about. You know, there's no information regarding where she's going to show up, but she signed a 5-year deal to develop various projects for Disney Plus. So I think that's cool, man. I mean, the Dora Milaje is awesome, man. I mean, when we saw him in Falcon and Winter Soldier, that was awesome as well, dude. Like, so keep it coming, and she's badass. So,
oh yeah, we've talked about this previously. The idea of just opening up more avenues for different shows like this, characters that have been in the movies and are now taking part in these shows for Disney Plus, because it's all hands on deck with what Marvel's doing. So I'm excited for this. I think it's going to expand the Wakanda, and it's something that we haven't really seen too much of, because obviously they're so closed off in the world. But having a show like this could really expand their presence across the world. What do you think about it, Sith?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's a great like supporting character, right, to sprinkle in places. I wonder if with the whole Black Panther situation being as it is this their kind of way to kind of take or relieve pressure off of that by kind of adding more flavor to this aspect of it?
For sure. I think definitely. And that's not to take away from these characters or that world, but I think with the success of Black Panther and Chadwick Boseman, I think they were blown out of the water by how successful it was, and they had so many hopes and dreams for Wakanda and Black Panther moving forward in the MCU. And then the tragic death of Chadwick Boseman, for lack of a better word, kind of derailed some of those ideas. And so I think they are kind of branching out. They don't want to give up on Wakanda, which is going to be tough with the main guy gone. So, but yeah, Justin and I talked about this. I mean, even just a Wakanda Disney Plus show where it's the Dora Milaje and even like the War Dogs. Like, I would love to see more of like the War Dogs, Nakia, and the undercover spies that they sent out into the rest of the world. I think it'd be really cool. You could do like a spy noir kind of like Falcon Winter Soldier type movie, or like TV show theme. I think there's a lot to do here, man.
Yeah, I think, as you were saying that, the parallel to me is like there's more to Star Wars than Luke Skywalker.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Jedi, like, and the Jedi.
Exactly, right? You can explore a lot of different things, just like you're saying. You could have, the Wakanda world and get into all the aspects. It's got a lot of rich history and culture and awesome characters that you can explore, no one will ever forget Black Panther, and we'll see what they do about that. But in the meantime, let's see what else that we can dive into with that.
One of the things I loved about Black Panther that did not get its due, in my opinion, and maybe they had planned on this coming out, was all the different tribes. Like we kind of just get like the tribe that T'Challa's family's from. We get a little bit of M'Baku's tribe and his buddy W'Kabi and whatnot, but I'd like to go more into what makes those tribes different, like the River Tribe, and like what separates them. I think that would be really cool to kind of see how these different tribes interact, because it is such like a great little world, like self-contained world in the MCU.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Definitely.
So that's kind of our Marvel news for today with TV and movie casting news, oh wait, actually we got one more. Let's talk about the Eternals trailer that came just, when was that? Was that earlier this week or kind of the weekend? Last Friday? Maybe?
Earlier this week.
Yeah.
It was over the weekend, maybe at the latest, but finally got an Eternals trailer. So that's coming out this year. We talked about this a couple weeks ago with the slate of all the different movies that are coming out this year. Of course, Shang-Chi, and we have the newest one, Eternals. Sith, what do you think about this one?
Man, the best part of that was seeing Kit Harington for me.
Oh, I know. But
I've
it wasn't
always-
even like a great Kit Harington scene either, too. It's just him, you
Yeah.
know? You wanted to see him in the armor and everything. Oh.
Well, I'll tell you why. I've always been a Black Knight fan. I've always liked D&D. You know, Manimal, you and I have talked
Oh,
about
yeah.
that. Arthurian legend. I know that you like that too, Manimal. And so it's funny because I've collected comics all my life, but quit many times. And the only photo I have from a while ago is this. I almost said chick, gal, who is holding my first Black Knight comic. That's like the oldest picture I have of my comic collecting. And then another fond memory was, you know, as this stuff was getting announced at D23, Tim had texted me the night before, you better pick these books up. And I was like, you know, yeah, I'll get to it tomorrow. And then, you know, sure enough, the announcements happened and I paid like a few $100 more for those books. So yeah, but I've got the Black Knight first appearances. I'm not selling them this time. And just stoked. I love Kit Harington, love the character, and then the Eternals as well, because I've got, you know, those books covered now as well.
Yeah, it's cool. The Eternals, they're different. Okay. And I actually read an article that was pretty interesting that was saying that the Eternals movie is unfortunately going to struggle with the backlash that the Inhumans had. You know what I mean? As like because they're kind of the same. Like I don't want to say the same, but they're very similar. You have these two self-contained races of people in the Marvel universe that honestly have never really played massive roles in the Marvel universe, you know. And I'm sure some people will be really pissed by me saying that because they are important to the Marvel universe, but they're no Avengers, they're no Fantastic Four and whatnot, you know. So the article was interesting in how they're going to struggle with, you know, how horrible the Inhumans TV show was. So
that was just terrible.
Yeah,
I never watched it. Yeah.
Don't.
15 minutes in and I was done. Like,
wow.
But you know what? Like the castings in this are really great. I love the Game of Thrones reunion you got with Richard Madden and Kit Harington's awesome. And just, you know, they even gender swapped a bunch of characters and made it a little bit more inclusive with races of the actors and whatnot, which is great, man. I mean, like all for it. Especially because some of these characters are not real well known anyway. It's not like taking a Clark Kent and making him African American, you know, something like that. So I'm pretty excited about this. I feel like it's like what most people thought about Guardians when it came out, right? Like I was reading Guardians at the time and I loved Guardians. And so I was super pumped. But when everyone's like, what's Guardians of the Galaxy? This looks stupid. And then it came out and it's probably considered one of the most fan favorite MCU movies. So
yeah, definitely a high point. Yeah, that's a good point. And I've actually never read Eternals, even though I've got like issue 1. I mean, it's slab. So I was actually just trying to find a paperback so I could read, you know, these books. But I couldn't find one today. And I have been picking up, like, I just picked up like 2 through 8 or whatever. So, you know, you're right, Zach. I mean, you know, what if it comes out and grabs people the way Guardians did? I'm looking forward to it. I don't know much about it. I don't have too many expectations other than I'm going to be entertained. And I liked seeing homie from Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Yes.
He
got ripped too, man.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Like the Eternals. So they just kind of like the biggest question is gonna be where the hell were they? There's some funny memes out there too about like what they were doing, while like Age of Ultron was going on, while the invasions were happening, and why Thanos was snapping. What were these dudes doing? So
good point.
That'll be really interesting to see all that. I'm with you too. I'm a massive Black Knight fan. So he's always felt a little bit like Nova to me in the Marvel universe. Like he's this character who's had like, in times he's been like super popular, but then other times they kind of like made a joke about him and he's never really got his due in the comics. So I would love to see Black Knight kind of come back, kind of like Nova did during Annihilation, and just become like a badass.
Yeah. When I was a young collector was the time when he kind of re-entered the Avengers. You know, you had Captain Marvel there, and just, you know, Black Knight was very prevalent. D&D was big, you know, swords and armor and all that stuff. So it's very nostalgic, that character.
Yeah. And Justin, you?
I'm with Sith. Like, I don't know too much. I don't own an Eternals, but I'm definitely going to be enjoying, you know, the trailer was awesome. It definitely was something that I'm looking forward to this year because, you know, we really haven't had any outside of the normal like AAA characters that Marvel's been putting out. This is something that even most people are just, they saw the trailer and they're like, oh, all right, but you're gonna go see Black Widow, you're gonna see Shang-Chi, and they're gonna have this trailer again, and most people are just gonna be like, oh, what is this?
Right.
For the casual fan, they may go see it, they may enjoy it a lot, just like I did with Guardians, and a lot of other fans out there that just saw it that didn't know anything about the characters, but people know who Kit Harington is, and Madden, and Angelina Jolie, and Salma Hayek. They know all the actors and actresses. It's just seeing what they can do in this Marvel Cinematic Universe. So
right.
I'm excited. I'm definitely excited for this one.
And we've said this a bunch of times on here, is I feel like as fans, we got to stop expecting these crossover movies. Like, it's okay to have Marvel movies that are just self-contained. Like, not everything has to reference back or cross over to the rest of the Marvel universe. It doesn't make it less of an MCU type movie if it's standalone. You know what I mean? Like, I think we got to accept that. We're probably not gonna have another Infinity War Endgame with 50 actors from the Marvel Cinematic Universe show up. It's just not going to happen, I don't imagine. So,
but no, totally.
So November 5th, Eternals.
Wow. Okay, bring it on.
All right. So moving out of the TV and movie news, got a little bit of a comic book section here, and this is really interesting. So this is coming off of GamesRadar.com. So Jason Derulo. Now, if anybody knows who Jason Derulo is, he's an R&B artist, but the article is Jason Derulo comes to comics with his TikTok sci-fi superhero. So first we had, of course, Keanu Reeves with Berserker. In the last month or so, we talked about Emilia Clarke with her, new series, Mom. And now we have Jason Derulo with his sci-fi project called Uzo. So if you don't know, Uzo is a character that he created on TikTok. He's basically the story is as humanity is surviving in a distant future where Earth is turned into a frozen wasteland after a mysterious asteroid crashes onto Earth, with the last shards of human civilization fighting amongst themselves for survival in a Mad Max style. A man named Uzo, who is Jason Derulo in these TikTok videos, becomes the last hope for both his village and the planet, according to publisher Z2 Comics. So very interesting now that we're getting, we've had an actor and actress, what their ideas are for comics, and they're in an indie comic. It's not been, into the Marvel or DC realm. And now we have an R&B artist bringing a character that he's been promoting on his TikTok over the past year, because it started in early 2020, but he's been writing about this for the past couple of years, but he's finally been able to get it and bring it to life with this announcement. So Sith, I know you're a big indie reader. What do you think about this?
Yeah. Now, who'd you say the publisher is going to be for this?
Z2 Comics.
Wow. Have you ever heard of them? I have not.
No,
I have not either. So they are definitely on the low publisher list. When you do FOC,
they're not in there. I mean, my first question with those publishers that we've barely heard of is like, how are you going to get the book, right? I mean, there's like books that my LCS doesn't get that are from almost well-known publishers, right? It's just so hard to get. The premise sounds pretty cool. I did not know who this R&B singer was. I had to ask Lady Sith, my entertainment consultant, who is this person? But yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, we're reviewing so many indie comics. That's all Spinetix has become lately, is, these indie books. Let's review them. So if I can get my hands on it, I'll definitely read it. I'll check it out.
It reminds me of, remember The Weeknd came out with Starboy. Do you remember that? The Weeknd, the rapper, R&B,
yeah.
He came out with his own comic as well, Starboy. So
interesting.
It's cool. Like, I think it's fun. Am I going to read it? I don't know. Probably not. Honestly, probably won't read it. If I found it somewhere, I would pick it up and read it. But I think it's cool to see people's love for comics kind of shine. Like, so this guy's he's into music, but obviously he's a comic book fan. And so now he's crossing over. I think that's cool, man. Like, I like it. I think it always brings more to the hobby to have more people interested in it. Justin and I have talked about this ad nauseum, that, back in the day, you had to hide being a comic book collector. It was not cool, man. Like, it was not cool. But, now it's so widely accepted. It's such a different world than it was. So it's fun to see mainstream people come and show their love for comic books.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing. Like you said, with the fact that like Keanu Reeves, Emilia Clarke, now Jason Derulo.
Right.
Growing up, I can remember only one actor who was huge into comics, and he always said it was Nicolas Cage.
Yep.
Like he would go out there and buy like these, top of the line Golden Age books, DC ones, Marvel stuff. Like he was in it. Like he wanted like all
that
those
Action Comics one, man.
Yeah,
for a long time. Yeah.
So
maybe that's why his acting went downhill, because he bought all the books he wanted. He didn't need the money anymore.
Well, he was buying weird shit too. Like, remember he bought like a Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton or something.
What the hell?
But yeah, like so Nick Cage, and then also the one. I mean, maybe obviously not on the level of Nick Cage, but you had like the Mallrats crew. That was like the other. And like Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck's like a secret comic book fan that a lot of people didn't know about for a long time. So
probably what you're saying, Manimal, like, because I know when I was a kid, it was not cool to collect comics. That's probably why I don't have any from childhood. I had to sell them for dating money. You know what I mean? It's like you want to take girls out. First thing that goes is your comic collection. But now it's cool to be nerdy, right? You got all the ladies doing cosplay and stuff like that. That was definitely not happening when I was a kid.
But who did you sell your comics to as a kid? Like there was no eBay, which like the guy down the street in his garage. Like who'd you sell them to?
Bro, like some long lost friend of mine got in touch with me and we were talking, and the more we started speaking, I'm like, oh yeah, you got my X-Men run, you got my Robotech run, and I think I just gave it to him, for like driving me around to parties.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't have friends like that. When I was young, I didn't have anybody who collected comics that I still remember. Baseball and basketball cards, like I can remember. Yeah, I remember I traded you that Michael Jordan card, or hey, I remember you gave me this card or that. Those I remember.
Bro, I'm still collecting cards. You know how hard it is to collect cards, comics, and action figures, man.
Dude, what are you doing?
My wallet is dying.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
Yeah. I got to consolidate. Yeah, no, but what you're saying, Zach, is it's more comic book fans is a good thing. More content is great. We'll see if it's because isn't Berserker your favorite book, Zach? Don't you just love that story?
I enjoy it. Is that sarcastic? Yeah. Have I talked shit on that?
I thought like I was listening back. Okay, maybe it wasn't you. I guess you like it.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's you know what it feels like? It feels like it kind of reminds me of like a Valiant book that I read in the newer universe. But I like it. It's cool. It's enjoyable. It's like it's a mix between like Bloodshot in terms of like he can just kill everyone and like survive, and then I'm trying to think of the story. Anyway, whatever. No, I've been enjoying Berserker. It's been pretty good. Nothing like. It's not like amazing by any means, but it's good for what it is.
Hey, again, like you said, it's great that we're going to get more people into the hobby that we didn't know. So it just brings more attention to us, and then of course it inflates all the other books.
Right,
that we're all dealing with right now. We can't buy any books because prices are so inflated. So
it's also finally making comic books like an accepted medium. You know what I mean? Like for a long time, people they weren't like. It's funny, my wife's father, he's older, and he calls them funny books, and I'm like brah, funny books, really? Because I got a funny book that's worth like $30,000. That's how funny is that, But it's like it's nice to see comics kind of finally get their due. They were always just so kind of considered like an art form for children and stuff like that, but it is an actual art form with legit writing, legit art. It's cool to see it, man. It's cool.
Well, it seems to be giving Netflix, shows left and right. So.
Oh man, yeah.
So rounding out the evening, of course, what we always do every week, we always talk about what are we currently reading. So this is a segment that we always talk about where, whether it's a new book, current reads, some old stuff that we decide to pick up and start reading again, maybe bring it to your attention that, hey, go out and buy it. So this week I'm going to start with what am I currently reading? I am currently reading the new Robin series. So issue 2 actually just came out this week. I'm thoroughly enjoying the Robin series. It's got, of course, my favorite Robin, Damian Wayne. And issue 1 and 2 kind of talks about this, what's known as the deadly. Of course, there's the Lazarus Pit and there's the League of Assassins. So they have this new thing called the Lazarus Tournament, where Damien's trying to get inducted into it and goes to this island where he meets other fighters. And it does have some first appearances actually in issue 1. And in issue 2, it kind of starts beginning this whole process of what the Lazarus Tournament is on this secret island. Of course, the first appearance in the first issue was all about Flatline, this new character who's got a skull face painted similar to like Miracle Molly. But to be honest, these first 2 issues were really good. It's tough to talk about it because I don't want to give too much away in the first issue. I don't know if any of you guys have read it, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it, mostly because of the art. The art, it's written by Joshua Williamson, and the art is done by Gleb Mikhanov. Some killer art on it, and it's typical Damien. He's such a badass. So anything that he's been in, I always love reading. Him splitting off from Batman and the Bat Family is always nice, just to have his own little solo series and his path. And just some upcoming solicitations. I did see that there is an issue that's going to have all the Robins come together, and I'm always about that when they bring all the Robins back for an issue or 2. So that's what I'm currently reading this week. Let's pass it on to Sith. Sith, any big books or old stuff that you're currently reading?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard of Stray Dogs, right?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Justin got me on that. It's dark, man. It's fucked up.
Oh yeah, I know. It's Lady Sith and I. We have 2 rescue pups, and Lady Sith's actually reading comics. Like she's buying variants on her own, right? But I was like, this last issue, I don't know if you want to read that, because she gets really she does not like to see pups in peril, And I'm like, she was like, just tell me what happened, right? And so I mean, but yeah, not only the writing, but the art is dope. I had the good fortune to get to co-interview the artist Trish Forstner, and she's really awesome as just a person, as well as on Instagram. She interacts. So it's always nice when the book is awesome, and then the creators are cool too.
For sure.
And then the next thing that comes to mind is Two Moons. Have you guys heard about this title?
No.
I know of it. I have not picked it up. So maybe
awesome.
You tell me about it, and maybe I'll be picking it up and reading it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people know. If you follow my Instagram, you'll see like a history post maybe once a week, but I'm a huge history buff. And this story takes place during the American Civil War. And although, there are elements of the traditional Civil War, right, North versus South, there's a supernatural element to it. And it centers around a Native American character who fights for the North. But now he's kind of behind enemy lines, and there's all kinds of different visions and supernatural elements that you do not like equate with the Civil War, all mashed up together. So I love a good horror comic, and then you add some history in there, and just it's a dope combination. So I mean, I could rattle on 20 other titles, but those 2 come to mind right away.
Okay, and so for Two Moons, how far are they out? How many issues is out right now?
I want to say it was issue 4.
Okay, so we're still pretty, so
early
still
on,
early enough where
with both series, goes.
Okay, definitely, yeah. I know Stray Dogs. 4 came out this week, so I read that, but definitely I'm writing down Two Moons because it sounds interesting.
When you say that these days, how many issues, you kind of get convoluted because there's 20 million variants, and you're trying to remember by the cover. Right. Like, unlike the old days where you're like, okay, Hulk 180, 181, it's like, now it's like, okay, which cover and the second and third print, But yeah, definitely, I can't recommend those 2 titles enough.
Yeah, we're big. I recommended Stray Dogs.
Loved it
after issue 1, and Zach picked it up, and now you're also talking about it. So anyone again listening to the podcast, if you haven't checked out Stray Dogs from Image Comics, definitely go check that book out. They're on issue 4 as of this week. Zach, what are you currently reading?
So you stole my Robin. First off,
this is why we don't talk about what we're reading.
I am liking Robin. Robin is awesome. You're totally right on that. It's really good. You guys got to check that out. So I'm going to give an honorable mention. And it's just so good. And I wish it was going to be like an ongoing for sure. But maybe it's good that it's ending. But TMNT Last Ronin is amazing. This recent issue. It sucks not being able to talk about this, but because I don't want to spoil, but obviously everyone knows that this is like the final TMNT storyline, right? And we know that the last turtle alive is Michelangelo. And so each issue we're kind of seeing the fall of key characters from the TMNT universe. So the only ones that are really still alive right now is April O'Neil's alive. We recently saw Professor Honeycutt show up as well in issue 2, and so issue 3 just came out, and we see the death of fuck it, man, I'm going to tell you who it is. I'm just going to tell you how it happens. They're dead, so whatever, man. So we see the death of Leonardo, and we see the death of Casey Jones, which is
wow,
it's crazy, man. So, and we also see Baxter Stockman show up in this issue as well. It's really good. You guys got to be reading this. If you're a TMNT fan, you're going to love this series. So Oh, sorry.
My
go ahead, man.
LCS was shorted on it yesterday, unfortunately.
Oh,
damn.
So
Well, if you
I'll be
can't find one,
grabbing
let
it.
me know. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll pick you up one if you can't find it. The other, so like the new book I picked up is I thought it was kind of fun, man. So it's Marvel. It's a first number one. It's Reptile. You guys remember Reptile from like Avengers Initiative? He's like the guy who can take on and turn into any dinosaur. So he's basically like a child's superhero's dream, right? And they've kind of been pushing this character a lot. And I think Marvel has plans with him. Obviously, he would do well in any kind of like an animation or cinematic. Like I said, he's a dude who turns into a velociraptor or a Tyrannosaurus Rex or something like that. But he had a really cool arc early days of the Initiative and Avengers Academy and stuff where they thought he was actually, they had like handpicked 6 of these heroes that they thought would eventually become villains. And they were kind of trying to like prevent them from becoming villains because of all the hardships in their life. But anyway, it's like I think it might be a mini series. I'm not sure if it's ongoing. The first issue was cool, man. I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time reading it, and I'm not like super invested in the character, but I very much enjoyed the issue. So Reptile number 1, definitely check that out.
Who doesn't like a good Velociraptor? I mean,
Yeah.
they're fun.
Who wouldn't love to turn into a dinosaur? You know?
Hell yeah, fun at parties, man. Hey, watch this. Hold my beer.
Yeah. Hold my beer while I open it with my T-Rex hands. You know?
Yeah, I can't grab it.
So it's cool, man. I mean, like, and they also tell you he's got like the proportionate strength. So even though he's like a regular sized dude, he's got the proportionate strength of these dinosaurs. So
Wow.
everyone loves Spider-Man, the proportionate strength of a spider. This dude has a proportionate strength of any dinosaur. That's way cooler, man. In my opinion.
Definitely.
Spider-Man sucks.
Oh boy. Well, that we definitely have some great picks for what are we currently reading this week. Of course, thanks everyone who is out there listening to us. So before we close out for the evening, Sith, if you just kind of want to run down where anybody can find you again, and then we'll close it out for our goodbyes. So our man SithLordly, thank you so much for coming here on the Comic-Con podcast. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, really appreciate you guys inviting me. Loving what you're doing. Hope you guys go live more on YouTube so I can pipe into the chat. But yeah, you know, it's been great hanging out with you guys, and definitely full respect to everything you guys put out there in the community. You can find me at Instagram at SithLordly. You can find my every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Pacific. We do Spine Ticks on YouTube, and looking forward to having both of you guys on the show soon.
Definitely, man.
Zach, anything for you? Closing thoughts?
No, yeah. Thanks a lot, Sith, for showing up. It's funny when we started the podcast and Justin and I were talking about, what kind of some guests we could have on, and your name was literally on the top of the list right from the beginning.
Appreciate
I mean, and it's not even so much like the comic book community thing. It's more of like, I think Justin and I both have great interactions with you. Like just as a person, you're a cool ass dude. So it was like fun.
Thanks,
like,
man.
yeah, let's get Sith on, man. He's a good dude. You can tell that you have mad love for comics, which is what we are as well. You know, so yeah, man, thanks a lot for being on. And no, I don't think I got anything. We got nothing really new coming up. Can't wait for the movies coming out here soon. And that's about it, man.
Awesome. From myself, real quick, just I went over to the 3 Men in the Basement comic swap over the past weekend. So shout out to everybody up there in Connecticut that I ran into. Emerald Knight 41, Copy 801, the NY Warriors, the Butcher, of course, the 3 Men in the Basement crew, Aegis, Comic of Alaska, Street Side Anthony, man, Mike the Beast, Coffee and Comics. There's so many guys and gals out there that I met up with. And that's just such a cool thing here on the East Coast that those guys do. That's it. It was an absolute pleasure. Again, Sith, thank you so much for coming on to our episode 21, which is now in the books. We are legal. We can go out and do some drinking now. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out and supporting the Comic-Con podcast. We are out of here. Thank you.
Later.
Peace.